Welcome back to another edition of the Friday Show, brought to you by Rowayton, son of diminished, standing at Diamond B Farm in Pennsylvania. We'll have more about him in a few minutes. I'm Ray Pollock here with Joe Neville's Bloodstock editor of the Pollock Report and Chelsea Hackbarth, news editor of the Pollock Report. Some great races last weekend, and then we got to Monday and all hell broke loose. There's jockey fights in Florida. A jockey in Maryland is suspended for not carrying the right weight. A little mysterious thing there. We got some people in England sitting on dead horses and having their pictures taken. And the latest is animal rights protesters at Golden Gate Fields that have run out onto the racetrack and disrupted racing. I don't even know where to begin, Joe. Why don't you take it away?
Well, let's start with let's start with some fisticuffs. Let's talk about the jockey fight. Big fight down at Gulfstream Park, had some punches thrown, had some fines going. Probably the most visible horse racing fight since, I don't know, Calvin Borel and Javier Castellano in the 2010 Breeders' Cup Marathon. Gang, what are your thoughts?
Well, when he got fined $1,000, I was thinking, how quick could he raise that money from the other jockeys in the jocks room? Because let's face it, Paco Lopez is not a popular jockey with his brethren. Let's leave it at that. And he's been suspended for reckless riding before. This incident that happened in the race was not good. It didn't look good for him, and frankly, it didn't look good for Irad Ortiz Jr., a multiple Eclipse Award winner, who kind of sucker punched him.
I've never seen Irad throw a punch before, but I gotta tell you, I don't want to get in the ring with him.
But it's the kind of thing that I've seen a lot of people ask, how could this possibly happen? How could, a jockey throw a punch at another jockey? Just why isn't more policing happening? And just these people clearly just don't know jockeys. Like, this kind of thing happens quite frequently in the jocks room. This is just the first time in a while that it's gotten caught on camera. Like,
Ray, I think it's Napoleon syndrome, isn't it?
No.
I mean, that's.
Listen, some of the best boxing you see are welterweights and really small guys who really go at it. And
oh my gosh, my favorite UFC fighter is Mighty Mouse Johnson.
Yes, sir. That's a good fighter.
I mean, they could probably put this on pay-per-view if they wanted to give them some gloves and construct a ring in the winner's circle at Gulfstream and raise money for Thoroughbred Aftercare or some good cause, or Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund or some good cause.
Can we set that up? That sounds great.
Or maybe this is how you settle DQs. How could you imagine how hype the Kentucky Derby would have been if maximum security, jockey gets off Country House, they've got an octagon outside the winner's circle, and we go 5-minute rounds, judges score, knockout or top score. You get put up, you get put down based on that.
I'm going to tell you quickly. The first jockey fight I ever saw was at Hollywood Park. I think it was 1982. Frank Olivares, the father of Christina Olivares Blacker from TVG, and Lafitte Pinkai Jr. got into it. Actually, they got into it during a race where they were using their horses in a dangerous way to go after each other. And then after the race, they just went at it in the winner's circle. And the funniest part about the whole thing was that Jan Siegel, the late Jan Siegel, the mother of Samantha, who was a nightclub singer, a big band singer, and she probably broke up a few fights in her time at nightclubs. She went behind one of the jockeys. I can't remember which one, because one of them rode her horse, and she just lifted him up off the ground from behind with a what do you call it, a headlock, and broke up the fight herself, which is the funniest part of that whole deal.
Ray, I gotta tell you, I've actually been a part of a jockey fight.
Go on.
So I'm not going to share the name of the racetrack or the name of the jockey, but I was ponying a jockey to the starting gate, and he proceeded to touch my butt without my permission, and I elbowed him in the nose and broke his nose.
Well done.
So, was that just a one-punch fight then, pretty much?
Absolutely, and I won.
Good job. Excellent.
That's good.
The stewards were not pleased with me, for the record.
Yeah.
Well, at any rate, the tensions run high with jockeys, and if you've got somebody like Paco Lopez, who does things on the track that he shouldn't do. Let's face it. Those suspensions were warranted that he's had before. They're just going to get worse. And the stewards need to take control of the situation instead of letting the jockeys resolve it themselves, because somebody is going to get hurt at some point.
Absolutely.
All right, Joe, these people in England that have been having their pictures taken on the phone while sitting and smiling while on a dead horse. Can you help me understand this?
I'm not going to help you understand this. I just have a couple things that I need to get off of my chest here. You idiots, you buffoons, what are you doing? This is your entire livelihood that you're sitting on, taking a picture, taking a smiling, peace sign for the gram. What are you thinking? You are ruining the jobs for thousands of people. Not even in your own country. Forget about your own country. We're talking about the world here. You're making things difficult, the work of countless people to make horse racing a palatable product for people to enjoy. And you're giving them one thing that people can throw at and say, no, horse racing is bad. And here are the bad people that are into it. I'm not even going to, there's the basic premise of be kind to the animals, don't desecrate their corpses. But if the last year has taught me anything, it's that appealing to the kindness of people isn't going to work for people. So here's what I'm going to tell you. That horse that you're sitting on, that you're taking a little pose on, that is your product. That is your livelihood. That is the thing that makes you money. This would be like if you were a farmer and, I don't know, you threw dirt clods on a hamburger before you threw it out to McDonald's. Like, you're desecrating your own product here. You're hurting your own bottom line. And the fact that this is even allowed to happen, this is operated by people who feel safe doing things like this. Not only the guy sitting on the horse, not only the guy sitting on the dead horse, the person taking the picture, the person posting it online. And that goes back to the system. This goes back to, just an industry that allows lousy people to feel comfortable. This is an industry that half the people are right now saying, oh, we love our horses. You can't possibly understand, what's going on here. He doesn't represent us. He doesn't represent us. And we have another group of people who are saying, oh, this is our guy. We'll stand by our owner. We'll, support him. We'll still send horses to him. We have people who are saying, oh, this isn't the man I know. Hasn't he suffered enough? He's suffered financial burdens. He feels ashamed of himself. Just let him back in. And no, you don't get to come back in. You lost your opportunity to be part of this business when you sat on a dead horse, made your little pose for social media or even just for, laughs and giggles, and you're done. You're done. And the fact that this keeps happening it's all of our faults. It's all of our faults.
I actually totally agree with you, Joe. It's not even so much about Gordon Elliott, the trainer in the photo. It's about the man who took the photo. I'm sorry, the individual who took the photo, the individuals that were standing around Gordon Elliott when he took the photo. Nobody picked him up by the collar of his shirt and punched him in the face for doing something so disrespectful. I've been around a lot of horses at the end of their lives, and the men that operate the heavy machinery to move those horses showed more respect to the dead horse than the trainer. That's insane.
It's pitiful. Yeah. It makes me so angry. I'm not okay with this. I'm really not. This is, it's the same kind of mentality that, you see people follow Marcus Vitale from place to place. You see people follow, trainers that have been ruled off. They'll go through paper trainers for, owners will stick by these people. They'll support them because there's no function to get them out of the business full time. And that's something that we're going to face here. If this guy ever settles a horse in competition, we have failed. And I have a strong feeling, given past performance, and horse racing is a business of past performance, this guy's going to saddle another horse again. That's a problem. He should be done. Done.
On the plus side, the British Horse Racing Authority did the right thing and immediately banned him from competition. He won't be able to saddle anything at the Cheltenham Festival, which is the biggest jump meet over there. So at least there's that. And I can't say that our racing authorities in the States would have done the same thing, because up until last year, they've shown that they won't do that. So
yeah. It's taken an act of basically government interference, the FBI to investigate, to get people to fully back off of trainers. And, it's not just trainers. It's horsemen. Obviously we're focusing on a trainer here, but it's horsemen of all, shapes, sizes, and backgrounds, but you know, it shouldn't take this much effort to have a bad person be punished for something and have it stick. And it's just, it gets more frustrating every time that everybody plays the same parts.
Yeah, and this happened a few days before an extremist group in Berkeley, California came out onto the racetrack at Golden Gate Fields and disrupted the day's card. There were a lot of protesters, and these are professional animal anarchists, I would call them. And when you have this kind of thing happening, no matter where it is, like you said, Joe, it doesn't have to be in our country, anywhere in the world where horses are mistreated, it just gives more ammunition to these people who want to shut us down. And you know, I'm glad the BHA did something. It took, you know, did something decisively, but our regulators, the people that regulate our sport, have to do a better job when we have abusive people in racing too. All right. So on that note, let's go to Glenn Brock at Diamond B Farms in Pennsylvania, standing Rowayton, the only son of Into Mischief in that region in Maryland or in Pennsylvania. And we'll be back with the star of the week.
We have a new horse, Rowayton, that we're very excited about. He's an Into Mischief out of an Indian Charlie mare. He was second to Game Winner in the Del Mar Futurity, narrowly beaten, and Game Winner, of course, went on to be the champion 2-year-old that year. He was 2/10 off the track record at Belmont, and just a very, very useful. In that race, he came from off the pace. Other races, he showed speed and was on the lead. I love the influence of the Indian Charlie. Into Mischief is the hottest sire in the country, and he's owned by an organization that's going to support him with not only with mares but supporting the industry by buying a lot of nice horses, and that's OXO Larry Best.
Thanks to Glenn Brock and Larry Best of OXO Equine, the owner of Rowayton, for their sponsorship of the Friday show. Be sure to check out Rowayton at Diamond B. And now here's the star of the week.
Greatest Honor's got a tall task ahead of him. He's yet to make a move, and he's better than 7 or 8 lengths off the lead. Passed now by Papatoo, who gets started for Junior Alvarado, but they've yet to reel in Drain the Clock. Drain the Clock and Edgar Zayas to the top of the stretch, a length and a half in front. Papatoo is charging hard for Junior Alvarado. He just went up into second, from Tarantino back third. Then Prime Factor and Greatest Honor as they turn for home. Up front, Drain the Clock trying to carry his speed. From the outside, Papatoo. Now Greatest Honor hitting high gear. And here he comes now. Greatest Honor finding his best stride right when he needs to. And he's going to run down Drain the Clock to win the Fountain of Youth.
Essential Quality is 3 deep. Jackie's Warrior and Woodhouse between horses. 2.5 lengths to Spielberg, who presents himself, and here comes the champion, Essential Quality. Essential Quality off the top of the turn, and he's opened up a 2-length lead, but Spielberg is running a massive race after him in second. Jackie's Warrior has been defeated. It is Essential Quality and Spielberg 1-2 a 16th out, and Essential Quality is just too good. Essential Quality, the champion, wins the Southwest.
Wow, Tappet with 2 very promising horses on the road to the Kentucky Derby. He's been a classic sire. I don't know the number of Belmonts that his offspring have won, but it's more than 1. Joe, how many was that for him?
Oh, man, you put me on the spot. I know it's at least 3. Might be 4. Yeah. I know it's at least 3.
Well, which of these two, Chelsea, which of these two do you think looks best? Here we are 2 months before the Derby.
I knew you were going to ask me that.
So you should have an answer.
Absolutely. I totally have an answer. You just might not like it. I'll be totally honest with you, Ray. They both look great, but I don't think either one of them is your Derby winner.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. Who do you got then?
Well, I've had an insider tip on Mandaloon, interestingly enough. So that's my, you know, it's that each of them, you know, they've improved a lot, but how much more is there in the tank? There can only be so much. neither one of them has had to put on a really, really gritty fight. So I'm kind of looking for a horse that's got some fight in him now, not just pure talent.
See, I agree with you, but at the same time, if you look at the last really several Kentucky Derbies, you haven't had to express that awful much grit to win. You just kind of have to get to the front and make sure nobody gets ahead of you. And that's
right.
That's
the general goal in horse racing, is it not?
Well, I mean, you can close or you can be on the front. So using those two methods, Essential Quality, his race in the, his most recent effort in the Southwest, that was something that he was 3 wide coming into the stretch. He didn't necessarily come screaming from the clouds or anything. And he drew off. He had that little extra kick in the stretch, and that's what you're going to need. And in the end at Churchill Downs, the Derby for the last decade or so really hasn't been that kind of closers in the win spot. So if we're looking strictly at running styles, I think, Essential Quality is your man to look at. And, I've been on the record on the show in the past. Essential Quality was my pick at the beginning of the year. He's done nothing to knock me off that post.
Well, both horses look good winning, but let's look at who they were passing. Drain the Clock is going back to sprinting. Jackie's Warrior, they wanted to make him a 2-turn horse. Failed in the breeder.
Pat Day Mile.
No, Pat Day Mile.
Jackie's.
So, and then that noted pedigree expert, Tinky, we all know and love Tinky, whoever he is saying that Essential Quality does not have the pedigree to be a Derby horse. So we'll have to see. There's a guy out west, Bob Baffert, that has a couple horses that may have something to say about the Derby before it's over.
There's always a chance. I've heard of the guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tappet is. He's a beast, and these two horses again, they didn't beat that much in that race. Essential Quality was a 2-year-old champion. And, it's hard to knock a horse that doesn't lose. Greatest Honor has the pedigree. He's got Shug as a connection. I think it would be great to have Shug versus Baffert, an east-west rivalry like, we haven't seen for a long time. And but we'll see. There's a lot of big races still to come. All right, it's time for Joe to give us the toast to Vino Rosso.
Yes, this time around, we've got first for both the sire and the dam. We got a colt from the debut crop of Vino Rosso out of the Congrats mare Secret Ingredient, who's herself a first-time brood mare. This colt was bred in Kentucky by Sienna Farm, and I called Sienna's general manager, Nacho Patino, the other day. He said that they were looking to add some leg to a medium-sized mare, and the stallion did the job. Sienna also bred Point of Honor, a grade 2 winning daughter of Curlin, and Patino said that they share a lot of similar qualities: length, muscling, and most importantly, class. That's definitely what you want to see, and that's our toast to Vino Rosso.
All right, thanks, Joe. Thanks to Spendthrift Farm. Thanks also to Glenn Brock and Larry Best at OXO for their sponsorship of the Friday show, and we'll see you next week.